The thing that bothered me actually is something that not a lot of people are talking about, which is Ryan Coogler's very evident ideas on what he sees Christianity as. So Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are like this. So Ryan Coogler writes and directs Sinners, and he casts Michael B. Jordan to star in it. And he plays these two twins called Smoke and Stack. That's not their real names. It's their hustler nicknames from their time in the South, in the Southern Underground. And more or less, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're kind of like those edgy, outside of the law type people.
Yeah.
But there is another part of their backstory where they did serve in the military. This is a completely fictional film. Anyway, it's just like, the movie's called Sinners for one. It was released the week of, 2 days before Resurrection Sunday, right? Which I can't help but think that this was a marketing ploy. Ryan and the powers that be, not the powers that be, but like his PR team or whoever, they was like, if we do this, this, and this, like it's gonna cause such a stir that it's just gonna drive traffic and drive eyes towards what we're doing. And it did exactly that. It's 50%, it's 50% musical and 50% thriller horror. They do a really good, to be fair, objectively, they do a really good job at highlighting the roots of Southern blues music deep south of Mississippi. And Smoke and Stack, they're like, it starts off with them coming back into town. They have all these new business ventures, business ideas that they want to do. And they want to open up this thing called a juke joint, which is basically just a glorified club.
Right. From what I'm gathering here.
Yes. Trying to start a new life, and for the most part, be on the straight and narrow.
So is it something is Sinners just the title that's like stirring up stuff, or is the actual plot of this thing is like it's got weird stuff going on? Or
it's a little of both, if I'm being honest. The idea of what we as Christians see Sinners as is never really talked about or fleshed out in the film. And if I'm being even more honest, I don't even think they say the word sinners at all in the film, which that's why I believe like they just did that to troll us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But here's where the controversy kind of comes in. It's just like, it is part horror. There is gore, like on the Quentin Tarantino level, you know what I mean? And the villain is a vampire. The villain, the villain is a vampire, in my opinion, that comes out of nowhere. And he basically is like, hey, I want to enjoy some of this Southern Mississippi blues music too. Can I come in? And they're like, nah, you know what I mean? And then one of the love interests is like, I gotta go to the outhouse real quick. And then she goes and she sees the lonely people standing in the corner because they're musicians themselves in the thing. And she thinks they're nice people, so she goes and she talks to them. And that was when it's all downhill from there, and which is a big mistake. And then she gets bitten, and then she bites somebody else, and then that someone else bites somebody else, and the next thing you know,
contagious vampires. Isn't that
they can't. No, mirrors, sunlight. They're allergic to holy water and garlic.
That's right. Garlic. Yeah.
That's a big thing. And I guess to land this plane, the last three things I'm gonna mention, which is where it gets convicting for some people, is that they have one character, Annie, in the film, who is the love interest of one of the twins. I don't know if I mentioned that. Michael B. Jordan plays two characters, these twin brothers, and his love interest is a voodoo practitioner. And in an interview, I really think people wouldn't have been in such a tiff if they cut this interview, but in an interview, she said that she was consulting an actual voodoo priest about the accuracy of her character. And if I remember correctly, they brought him or her on set. That's where it gets dicey. You know? And
that's stuff you don't want to mess with.
You don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
But, and if I'm being honest with you, Jeremy, if you took all of that out, it would still be a phenomenal film. Like it like, remember how we were talking about Panavision? We were talking about Andor before and what they shot the original Star Wars one. Like they did the same thing. They didn't shoot it digital at all.
Really?
Yeah, they shot it on Panavision and IMAX, and it looks stellar. Like it's amazing. Really good writing, really good character development. Everyone on the cast is super talented, including the guy that plays Preacher Boy. one of the other main characters in the film, he's like the source of the blues in the film. Yeah, like he's in this weird in between where he comes from a religious Baptist background, but his dad doesn't want him playing blues, so he kind of is stuck between both worlds because he loves his dad and he loves God. They even mention that in the movie. He does, but he also loves his music, right? And so he's in a divide. But it's still, if you take the bad crap away, it's still a dope film. And that's what it had me super convicted when I watched it, because I was like, this is really good, but I know Christians are gonna eat this up, like in the worst possible way. You know, it's the lore about the vampires, the voodoo part, and if I'm being, there's cursing, obviously, right? Like this definitely ain't winning a Movie Guide Awards. And there's sexual references that are pretty heavy, like in the film. But as far as visually, you don't really see anything, to be honest with you, which is, they like, if their goal is to be like right on the line of moral ambiguity, like they did it. And now the thing, and I'll get off my soapbox after this, dialogue between Preacher Boy and one of the other, I almost said keyboard, one of the other pianist players that are on the band that are playing at the juke joint. And he has this dialogue where he's like, man, like that the blues, it's all black people got, man. It wasn't given to us like the white man's religion when we came over to America. And right there, I was like, no.
Yeah. Because
much like I was saying with the Ving Rhames, who apparently is middle named Ramses, like there's this misconception, you know what I mean, in certain subgroups of black culture when it comes to, especially when it comes to Christianity, about where it came from. But the thing about it is like we have the internet now, we have scholars that are influencers and this, that, and the third, and this isn't hard information to access. Like Christianity was in Africa before it was in Europe, right? Like the fact that he would put that in the film, that bothered me. Right.
The oldest living church is Ethiopian.
Wrong button, but whatever, you know?
Or maybe it's Turkish.
Maybe. Wait, what? Oh, you trolling me now. You good at that. But yeah, man, and that just that goes to kind of like what I was saying. It's just like, well, off camera, I guess, it's just like the whole idea of psyoping in film. Yeah. Because there are gonna be people of all races who will probably hear that, and it'll feed into that itching ear voice of theirs. It's just like, no, Christianity's whack. Christianity, it's out the door. It's caused all this division. It's people have used it in the name of doing all sorts of things, right? And that bothered me. And the sad part is that's the least talking point of any of the Christian film influences that I follow. So I don't know. I'm glad I get to say it today. If you can't tell, I'm very